So traveling when you're fasting is actually pretty darn cool. It's actually a great opportunity to fast when you're traveling. Normally, when you're at home or at the office, you have a refrigerator, you have a pantry that's right there, just yelling your name. When you're on a plane, there's sort of a physical barrier between you and food. If you're considering doing a longer fast, traveling from east to west, your day is going to be longer, which means you give yourself a great opportunity to do a longer fast without really disrupting your natural circadian rhythm a whole lot. Your time isn't effectively changing, but your body's clock kind of is. So let's talk circadian rhythm for just a moment. You see, the circadian rhythm is largely operated by two things. Okay, it's going to be sunlight or daylight, and it's going to be your food. So the neat thing with fasting or time-restricted feeding is that when you abstain from food for a period of time, and then you break that fast at a strategic time so that you're on the normal clock of where it is that you landed, your natural circadian rhythm and your body is going to adapt to that, leaving you feeling less sluggish. Now, some of the things that I like to do when I'm traveling, before I step foot on that plane, I have a couple tablespoons of apple cider vinegar. Apple cider vinegar reduces your blood sugar, and that's been proven in multiple studies. Now, what is that gonna do for you on a flight? Simply put, it's gonna help reduce cravings. If your blood sugar's a little bit lower, you're not gonna be on that roller coaster ride making you crave food in and out throughout your entire journey. And also remember that when you're traveling and when you're flying, it's easy to get dehydrated. And when you're fasting, it's a little bit normal to get into a slight state of dehydration because your kidneys are expelling a little bit of extra water. So don't be afraid to bring in a little bit of sodium. I like to sip on a little bit of salt water. It just feels like I'm getting something semi-satiating in me. In fact, one of the things that I do is I travel with a little container of salt. It makes it super simple. That way I can buy a water from the airport grocery store, sprinkle some of that in, and boom, I'm off to the races. Now, another quick thing you might want to remember, you might want to consider avoiding carbonated beverages while you're in the air, at least if you have a sensitive stomach. Pressure changes have an effect on your gut, and carbonation has an effect on your gut. Another thing to consider that people often overlook is your other minerals. Okay, I would highly recommend bringing some magnesium with you. Okay, again, once you're dehydrated a little bit on a plane or because you're fasting, you start to lose those minerals, and magnesium is so critical. It's involved in almost 400 different enzymatic functions within the body. So the moment you start feeling a little bit cramped up or you start feeling like you're just getting stiff, sometimes it's just a magnesium issue. So a couple 100 milligrams of magnesium can usually do the trick. I want you to think about what's at the airport. You've got fast food, you've got pizza joints, you've got some Asian cuisine, you've got the occasional smoothie bar, but largely it's pretty unhealthy stuff. And you have to remember, at the end of a fast, your cells are like sponges. You are very insulin sensitive. All that simply means is that your cells are going to absorb whatever you give it. So that's exactly why you want to be prepared and bring some of your own clean food so you don't have to settle for just what's there at the airport. And if you're wondering what kind of food you can eat to break a fast, make sure you check out our Fastbreaker series where we can break down exactly what's ideal to break a fast with. So just to recap, before you step on that plane, have a couple tablespoons of apple cider vinegar. Then make sure that you're consuming a little bit of salt water so you help out that mineralization within your body. And if you have a sensitive stomach, make sure that you're avoiding carbonated beverages. Also, consume some magnesium to help yourself out with those minerals. And lastly, make sure that you are prepared with the proper meal to break a fast with. And just know that 60, 90 minutes later after that meal, you can indulge and enjoy a little bit more of your favorite food.